Everyone has some general assumptions about how music affects your play. For example, most people would agree that songs with faster tempo will influence you to play faster, and vice versa. But are they correct? And what specifically is better and worse about your playstyle in every major genre? Today, I tackle that through scientific methods. And by scientific, I mean I remembered the term control group from my high school biology class, so I made one of those. Just a quick aside, only 17,999% of those watching are subscribed, so if you're in the 1%, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? First of all, let's set some rules for the experiment. Since we're trying to look at only how we play when influenced by music, we need to make the experiment as much about us as possible. That means no teammates, saves don't matter because that requires a shot from an opponent, and shots are calculated as percentage of shots that's scored, so that if you have a particularly defensive opponent, you don't unfairly tip the scales. Now obviously the one factor we can't control is the skill of our opponents. We're gonna be against some really terrible people sometimes, we're gonna be against some really good people other times. In an ideal situation, we would play against the same person all 80 times, but even Nick can't be convinced to play 80 games of 1v1 against me, which is saying something because Nick will do anything for views. As for trials, I played 10 games in a row with each genre of music blasting, and one set of 10 games with no music as a control group. Obviously, 10 games isn't a ton for each, and isn't ideal, but we had 8 categories, and I wasn't looking to play more than 80 1v1s, even spread over a long period of time. With all that out of the way, it's time to get into the results. I'm just going to put the chart on screen as I talk through it because there's 24 things being measured here, and I somehow know that someone is going to want that one data point that I don't discuss. As you can see, my best win rate was with lo-fi and hip-hop music. Trust me, I hate this as much as you do, but I do have a theory that I'll get to later on as to why this is. My worst win rate, to no surprise I think, was the control group. It just felt so awkward listening to nothing. As someone who usually plays with loud rock music, playing in silence was terrible. If you think playing with music is distracting, playing while constantly expecting music and never getting it is even more distracting. The control group performed the worst of all the genres, including even sad. I scored more goals listening to depressed singers belt their woes than listening to silence. So if you take anything from this video, listen to something while you grind. Next up is my shot accuracy. Surprisingly, hype songs won this one by a decent margin. Funnily enough, I predicted this to be the one thing hype songs wouldn't win at. It seems to follow logically that if you're pumped up and playing fast, you're more likely to miss things and be less accurate. But I guess logic means nothing because I scored 3 out of every 4 shots while listening to hype songs, which is absolutely ridiculous. The general trend actually ever so barely indicates that you're more accurate with a higher BPM, which is absolutely ridiculous, but hey, I guess it's science. Finally, we have points. Points don't really mean anything in actual Rocket League 1v1, as a defensive player can crush an opponent and still only have half their points, but comparing myself to myself by points earned should allow me to see, well, how much I ball chased. You would think that with a higher BPM I would ball chase more, and you'd be right. This is the only graph and trend line from this data that I think definitively proves something, as every data point in it except for one follows the trend. So if you want points, listen to heavy metal, I guess, or something faster. So overall, here's the conclusions of my theories about them. No matter what genre, you should definitely listen to something, even if it's country. If you're trying to win, chill music seems to do you best. I think having audio there gives you a tempo to play at, and chill music makes that tempo reasonable, so you play calm and controlled, making you objectively better at the game. If you're trying to lose, pop music is effective. And if you listen to anything else, the effects seem somewhat null, so just listen to whatever you want, I guess. I don't know.